I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for probably about 11 years at this point. So, needless to say, it's been kind of a tremendous part of my life for so long. It's hard to imagine things without it now. It's been such a gift to my friends and I as we've gotten together every week, almost every week for about that same amount of time. About 8 years on this one game. In the span of that, it's kind of become more than just a game for me. It brought us all together so much closer as friends. We have all these shared stories that each one of us has had a hand in telling, that nobody else knows of, that nobody else could see or truly understand. It's a very special connection, what we have between each other. All of us through the years have created these characters and these moments that define them. I was the dungeon master for 8 of those years on this campaign, which I call the Tales of Vasa, and it's set in the frigid northern regions. Very little populace there, very little civilization, and the environment itself is very austere and empty and harsh, very unforgiving to anyone that makes any mistakes. And I think through the themes that I've placed in this game, I slowly have revealed things to myself that I wasn't willing to admit to myself in person or say out loud. And I think each of these elements of this game are very representative of my own struggles and my own difficulties. The empty environment that's so inhospitable and harsh and dangerous has slowly become more tame as the heroes have grown in knowledge and capability. And I think that's very analogous to my own journey in the way that I never really knew what I wanted to do after high school or after college. And the world outside what I knew was so big. It was so intimidating. It seemed like if you made a mistake out there, that was it. You know, I had heard stories about people that had lost it all and everything and had to live on the streets, or people that had chased a dream and failed. And I had a dream, and I had a big dream. And I think through the telling of the Tales of Vasa, I kind of confronted that fear of failure.
So I play Delton, Thane of Vulpus. He's kind of a barbarian warrior who fights for his tribe and his friends. D&D's really been a great thing for this group of friends. You know, I love this story and seeing the characters make hard decisions and grow from being just, you know, selfish warriors at the very beginning, hunting gold and burning down taverns, to suddenly having to make sacrifices that are world shaking. You know, it's just an amazing story we've put together here. I really love it. People can get stuck in a daily grind of just doing the same thing over and over, and you can see it in their eyes that their creativity, that their imagination is no longer really there. You know, they go to work and they come home and they have a beer and they sit on the couch and watch TV. You know, it's not something I want to do. You know, D&D has allowed me to keep that imagination spark alive.
We played this game, Dungeons and Dragons, all through Boy Scouts. since I was like 11 years old. We would play on Boy Scout trips, and we'd take our books on camping trips and wrap them in towels to keep them safe and dry, and then play around the campfire. And that's where, I think that's where it was some of the best times, was the fact that we were out in nature, just like our characters were, exploring these new places and foreign landscapes to us, and having our own adventures in real life, while at the same time reaching even further through the game to have even bigger and grander adventures. So that was an incredible time, and I really miss it. Occasionally we will start up a campfire and do a game around that, and it just, something else happens when you're telling a story around a campfire. It really, it frees up the imagination even more, and it's incredible.
So my name's James Leet. I play Captain Vrash Cowlor. He's the swashbuckler extraordinaire, you know, big show, tricorn hat, great swordsman, overconfident, always getting into mischief, you know, wisecracker of the group. You get to actually like act out things that you can't do in real life, right? None of my friends are gonna shoot spells out of their hands. I mean, that's something that doesn't exist. But when given that power, it's a different personality trait that comes out, right? And every good character has part of yourself in it, so you can actually get to see like little elements of a person that they wouldn't normally show, because maybe they don't have that kind of strength out of game, but in game they use it a certain way. It's just interesting like that. I'm currently signed with the Marine Corps and leaving in 2.5 months. Right now I'm just kind of preparing physically and mentally as much as I can to get ready for boot camp, because it's going to be a super hard ordeal. Probably like the hardest thing that I've ever done. I like having the ability to see my friends every week, and every time we come together and make this awesome story. I'm going to really miss that. I miss getting to express new ideas and imaginative concepts, and just out of the blue messaging my brother and being like, hey, I've got this awesome idea, let's do it next week. That's not going to happen anymore. And on a character basis, you can always make more characters, but once you spent 7-8 years in a character, it's kind of hard to replicate and just create a new one of the same magnitude, because that's literally development of like an 8-year-old child, pretty much. So many people are just gray. They don't really do much in life. They don't have adventure. They don't go out and spontaneously do something really fun, like, hey, you want to go rock climbing for the first time, or come do martial arts or something like that, or let's just go on a hike and appreciate nature, that kind of thing. That kind of spontaneity, people are too basic. I think D&D's instilled kind of a wild enough streak through me, or at least it's fanned the flame for it.
One of the things that I've been struggling with lately is my younger brother James is preparing to leave for the Marines, and he's going to be gone for a long time. And he's been playing with us since the beginning, since he was 8 years old, 11 years ago. And on top of that, two of my friends, David and Brianna, they're getting married very soon, and that's exciting and thrilling. And they've been playing in the Tales of Vasa with me for probably about 5 years consistently. And David, he had gone to the Marines and missed a large portion of this game as well. But he came back to it and has now been enjoying it with us. And then my friend Jonathan, he's already moved up to Huntsville and is getting a career and beginning to start his own life. Most of my friends are getting close to graduating college, and I myself am going who knows where.
My character's name is Allison, and she is an arcane archer Valkyrie, so she's pretty freaking epic.
The character that I play, his name is Baron. He's just a regular old human, but he is a barbarian fighter that always loves to fight. Because why not? The Leet boys, everyone here pretty much, decided to introduce me to a game that their dad played, and it kind of just went downhill from there. So, in a good way.
I started playing D&D because of him. He was like, hey, come be a nerd. And yeah, the rest is history. My dad actually played too, so it's kind of destined, I guess. I'm kind of sad about this campaign ending, just because I know that most people who are at this table have played for a super long time. I haven't played very long in this one, so I'm not the saddest about it, because it was when I first began and I was really bad at D&D at first, and probably still am, and just don't know it, but I think I've gotten better. So I'm a little sad.
Good adventurers always go left and never split the party.
The Tales of Vasa have been ever present throughout my teenage years till now, and it's kind of just a chapter in my life and something I associate with so much of my formative years, just because it's always been there alongside all these other things that have made me who I am. That the idea of it ending, it just brings some realness to the fact that this era of my life is coming to a close. And just as that's getting close to its end, so is the campaign of the Tales of Vasa.
So my name is Jordan Reed. I play Erevan. He's a paladin. Basically joined the campaign as a bit of a no-name because I was too lazy to create a backstory for him, you know. But throughout the progress of our story, we saw that he's the king of a land. He's had a little bit of a redemptive arc towards saving the land, and from that king, you know, saving the entirety of Vasa from evil Lich Lord Zangai, who wants to destroy everything and everybody. It's a fun time. What got me into D&D was just friends. It was mostly you guys. I think James specifically probably is the one that actually invited me the first time. As far as when I started, I think it was something like 8 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but it's been a long time for sure. D&D means basically just it's a good time, and it's a good time to be had with friends. It's a good way to connect with each other, learn about each other, because a lot of the times the characters we play are really just like enlarged versions of ourselves. If you would, we'll take like certain character aspects and we'll just like really push that to the limit. So it's interesting to see the way our characters interact, because in a way that's the way we interact with each other as well. Honestly, I don't want it to end. I don't want our story here to end, but I realize all good things must come to an end, you know, and as has been said, there are other stories to tell, and it's not like it's the end of our friendship or anything like that, so I'm not too concerned about it, you know.
I've been working towards a close for... I told him I was going to try and end it last summer, and that didn't happen. And then this summer I went to summer school, and it didn't end this summer. And now my brother's going to be leaving in 2 months. And I'm still working towards that close, and I'm almost there, and I can see the end. But at the same time, I don't want to reach it. I don't want to say that's where the story ends. Because if I feel like if I say it, then it'll become real. That if I say it's over, then so will this era of our lives be.
My name for the record is Jonathan. You will redact that, of course. I play Vildar Whitfar, the midget wizard bent on world domination and other family-friendly activities. If I had to say, being able to fantasize about different realities is pretty interesting. Also loot. I think the thing that keeps me coming back most for D&D is the weekly chicken sacrifices. Good stuff. I think what keeps me coming back for D&D is hanging out with my bros. I would say I'm slightly similar to my character in that we both love fun shenanigans.
And is world domination a trait exclusive to Wit Farm?
Perhaps not. I've come to know my friends a bit better through it, which is a good thing. I've come to know their likes and dislikes, what triggers them. Although the game is coming to an end, 8 years is a bit of a misnomer given that it was only about sessions. Still, in spite of it only being sessions, I must say I'm rather sorry to see it go. Well, because of the loot, of course. My only closing remark is the one piece of wisdom we all know, and that is to never split the party.
I am Jarrett Baldwin, and I play Artemith Irundel Dayreth, who is the party's wizard. Most original wizard. We were in like 6th grade, I think, was whenever I had first really started. And we were actually out on a trip. I believe the first time I played was when we were out there at the battleship with the Boy Scouts. And we stayed up until probably like 11 or 12 that night after me making my first Dragonborn character and turning a were-rat into a, quote, puddle of grease, which I still remember to this very day. So I think as far as that goes, it's a unique entertainment experience. It's very proactive, whereas most other methods of consumption are one-sided. You know, you're watching a movie and it's just pouring straight into your brain, right? But then with something like D&D, it's totally different because not only are you interacting with the director of the movie, that being, you know, the dungeon master, you also have this consistent interaction with the world that you can impact it as time goes on, as the story progresses. And beyond that as well, it kind of appeals to my more creative side because I can either run my own campaigns, build my own worlds, or being just a player, write my own story for my character and interact with the story that the DM is writing and the other players at the table are writing as well. So it's a really synergistic experience for all the players, and I think that's really the main thing for me. Well, anytime you're in a confined space with a bunch of people that you're around pretty often, sometimes things can get a little bit contentious, but other times it can just be something that, you know, if at any moment you ever feel like the relationships are stumbling, you can always fall back on these great moments that you've had with one another. And that type of storytelling is awesome because, you know, something poorly goes on in the relationship, or even somebody's going through something badly in their life, we can always fall back on these positive times that we've had with one another. And that really helps build those relationships up. And it goes beyond the game because you can take from different campaigns, different stories that you've been part of, that you've written, and just kind of congeal them into this big story for your full friend group, and just show that your friends and you have progressed through life and changed, and so therefore the way that they've told stories and the way that they've received those stories has also changed. So it's really good for building those relationships and keeping them afloat. I would invite a lot of folks to find a way to join in with a D&D group, because I think that it's a really productive atmosphere, especially for younger people looking to engage with other people around in their friend groups and things like that, to forge new relationships and to strengthen old ones. And also, never split the party.
I've enjoyed this time so much, and the time I've spent with my friends in this era of my life so much, that I don't want it to end. And the game has just been an analogy for that time period. But at the same time, I know that when a story ends, it doesn't really. It kind of lives on in their memories, and it inspires their imaginations. And if I tell this story to the best of my ability, it'll always be with them, no matter where they're at or what they're going through. And maybe it'll remind them of this time that we had together as friends.